In just 10 chapters, I will teach you how to overcome anger and reclaim the throne of your own mind. We live in an era of constant outrage, where peace is rare and rage is rewarded. But you were not born to be a puppet of your impulses. Within the next hour, we will dismantle the temporary madness of the spirit using the timeless steel of Stoic philosophy. From the war rooms of Marcus Aurelius to the chains of Epictetus, you will learn to turn your triggers into triumphs. This is not just a lesson, it is your initiation into the life of an unshakable warrior. Let us begin. Chapter 1: The Forest Fire of the Mind. Anger. It is not a guest in the house of the soul, it is a fire. Seneca, the great Stoic statesman, called it a temporary madness. It is the only emotion that seeks its own destruction, a storm that breaks its own back just to shatter the windows of another. Think of a time when the heat rose in your chest, when the words left your lips like jagged glass, only to leave you bleeding in the silence that followed. In that moment, you were not a king of your own mind. You were a slave. You were a puppet, dancing to the strings of a minor inconvenience, a perceived slight, a ghost of an insult. The Stoic does not ask you to suppress this fire. To suppress is to bury a coal in the floorboards. Eventually, the whole house burns. No. The Stoic asks you to understand its chemistry. To see it for what it truly is, a judgment. You are not angry because of what happened. You are angry because of what you tell yourself about what happened. You tell yourself, "This should not be." You tell yourself, "I have been wronged." You tell yourself, "They must pay." But the universe does not owe you a day without friction. To expect a world without rudeness, without delay, or without betrayal, is like expecting a sea without salt. It is an absurdity. And when we live in absurdity, we live in constant rage. The principle of the pause. The first and most vital pillar of the Stoic defense is the principle of the pause. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius sat at the edge of battlefields, surrounded by the chaos of war and the stench of plague. Yet he wrote to himself, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." How do we become unlike them? We create a buffer zone. Imagine a vast, empty space between the moment someone insults you and the moment you open your mouth. In that space, your freedom lives. If you react instantly, you have no freedom. You are a reflex. You are a knee-jerking when struck by a mallet. But if you can wait, even for one breath, the power shifts. When the blood begins to boil, the Stoic commander within you must give a single order. Wait. Do not speak. Do not type the message. Do not even allow your face to change its expression. Seneca advised that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. Not because the anger will vanish, but because the fog will lift. Anger is a master of disguise. It makes a pebble look like a mountain. It makes a misunderstanding look like an act of war. If you feel the urge to strike back, tell yourself this: "I will be angry tomorrow. If this is still worth my peace of mind in 24 hours, I will address it then." Usually, by the time the sun sets, the mountain has returned to being a pebble. You will look back at your impulse and realize that the person who offended you was likely acting out of their own internal pain, or simple ignorance. By pausing, you are not being weak. You are exercising the ultimate form of power, self-sovereignty. You are proving that your peace is a fortress that cannot be breached by the clumsy words of a stranger or the mistakes of a friend. Practice the pause today. In traffic, in a tense meeting, in a disagreement with a loved one. Breathe into the space between the strike and the wound. That space is where your character is born. Chapter 2: The View from Above. Think of your anger as a magnifying glass. When you are caught in its grip, the object of your frustration becomes your entire world. The rude driver, the disrespectful colleague, the broken promise, they loom so large that they block out the sun. You lose sight of everything else. You forget your purpose, your loved ones, and the simple gift of the air in your lungs. The Stoics had a cure for this microscopic vision. They called it the view from above. Imagine, for a moment, that you are leaving your body. You rise through the ceiling, above the roof of your house, above the streets of your city. You see the thousands of people below you, all scurrying about with their own private dramas, their own secret heartaches, and their own flashes of temper. Continue rising. Now you see the entire continent. You see the oceans, and finally, the earth itself, a small, blue marble suspended in the infinite, silent dark of the cosmos. From this height, where is the person who insulted you? Where is the traffic jam that felt like the end of the world? They have vanished. They are smaller than dust. Marcus Aurelius often used this mental exercise to drain the heat from his blood. He reminded himself that most of the things we fight over are vapid and rotten. We are like children fighting over a toy in a house that is already on fire. When you feel anger rising, it is because you have become too small. You have allowed your soul to be trapped in a tiny, insignificant moment. To overcome this, you must expand. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year? Will it matter in a decade? Will it matter when I am on my deathbed, looking back at the life I led? The answer is almost always a resounding no. Most of what fuels our rage is the ego, demanding importance. The ego hates the view from above because, from that height, the ego is invisible. But for the Stoic, this invisibility is freedom. If your problems are small in the grand scale of the universe, then you are free to let them go. You are free to be calm. This exercise is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It is about becoming proportional. It is about realizing that your energy is a finite resource. Why spend the currency of your life on a grievance that the universe will forget in an hour? The next time someone cuts you off or speaks a lie against you, do not stay in the gutter with them. Rise. Look down at the scene from the stars. See the two tiny figures below, one shouting, one listening, and realize how quiet the world is when you refuse to add your own noise to the chaos. Keep your eyes on the horizon, not the dust at your feet. From the view from above, there is no room for rage. There is only room for perspective. Chapter 3: The Strength of the Forewarned. Why does anger strike with such violence? It is because we are surprised. We go into the world expecting people to be kind, expecting the machines to work, and expecting our plans to unfold without a hitch. When life inevitably deviates from our script, we react like a child whose tower of blocks has been tipped over. We feel entitled to a smooth path. And in that entitlement, we find our rage. The Stoics practiced a different way. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It is the art of looking ahead and seeing the storm before it arrives. Every morning, before you step across the threshold of your home, hold a brief conversation with yourself. Follow the advice of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." This sounds like a dark way to live, but it is actually a recipe for profound peace. If you expect everyone to be a saint, you will be angry by breakfast. But if you expect to encounter the difficult, the rude, and the incompetent, then when they appear, they cannot hurt you. You simply nod and think, "Ah, there you are. I was expecting you." The shock is gone. And without the shock, anger has no fuel. Think of the things that trigger you most. Perhaps it is the disrespect of a peer, or the failure of a piece of technology you rely on. Visualize these failures now. See them happening in your mind's eye. Feel the initial spark of frustration, and then see yourself breathing through it. See yourself responding with a calm, steady hand. You are training your mind like a soldier trains for a battle. No soldier goes into combat hoping it won't be loud or dangerous. They know it will be both. Because they have visualized the chaos, they can function within it. We get angry because we live in a fantasy world where things should go our way. But the word should is a trap. The universe does not follow your shoulds. It follows its own laws. Negative visualization is not about being a pessimist. It is about being a realist. It is about removing the velvet from your expectations so that you are not bruised by the hard edges of reality. When you lose a job, when a friend betrays your trust, when a health crisis emerges, the Stoic who has practiced premeditatio malorum is the only one left standing. while others are shouting at the heavens, demanding to know, "Why me?" The Stoic is already working on the solution. They know that loss is a part of the deal of being alive. They know that people are flawed, just as they themselves are flawed. By anticipating the obstacle, you turn the obstacle into a known quantity. You take the stings out of life's arrows. Practice this tonight. Look at the things you value most and realize they could be taken from you at any moment. Do not fear this, use it to cherish them now, and to prepare your soul for the day they depart. He who is forewarned is already halfway to victory. Chapter 4. The Dichotomy of Control. At the root of every flare of temper, every bout of road rage, and every bitter argument, lies a single, fundamental error of the mind. We are trying to control the uncontrollable. Epictetus, a man born into the chains of slavery who rose to become one of the greatest teachers of the ancient world, began his handbook with these words: "Some things are in our control, and others are not." It sounds simple, almost too simple. But within this sentence lies the secret to an unshakable life. Think of your life as a circle. Inside that circle are the only things you truly own: your thoughts, your intentions, your own actions, and your own reactions. Outside that circle lies everything else: the weather, the economy, the past, the future, and most importantly, the behavior of other people. When you get angry, it is because you have stepped outside your circle. You are trying to reach into the external world and force it to obey your will. You are trying to command the traffic to move. You are trying to command your boss to be fair. You are trying to command the world to be different than it is. And because you cannot control these things, you feel helpless. And because you feel helpless, you scream. Anger is the roar of a person who has lost their power. The Stoic regains their power by withdrawing their concern from things outside the circle. Imagine you are an archer. You can choose the best bow. You can feather your arrows with care. You can train your muscles until they are like steel. You can aim with absolute focus. All of this is within your control. But the moment the arrow leaves the string, it is no longer yours. A sudden gust of wind can blow it off course. The target can move. The bowstring can snap. The Stoic archer finds their peace in the aiming, not the hitting. If they aim perfectly and the wind blows the arrow away, they do not curse the sky. They do not break their bow in a fit of rage. They simply smile and reach for the next arrow. They know they did their part. Apply this to your anger. When someone treats you with disrespect, ask yourself, is their tongue within my circle of control? No, it is not. Their words are an external event, no different than a thunderstorm or a falling leaf. If you allow their words to make you angry, you have handed them the keys to your house. You have said to them, "My happiness depends on your permission. If you are mean, I must be miserable. If you are cruel, I must be enraged." What a pathetic way to live, to be a leaf blown about by the breath of fools. The next time you feel the heat of frustration rising, draw the line in the sand. Remind yourself, this is an external. It is not within my power. What is within my power is how I choose to judge this moment. You cannot control what people say to you, but you have absolute, kingly authority over how much you care about it. Focus on your circle. Master your aim. And let the wind blow where it will. Chapter 5. The Error of Others. When someone strikes a blow against us, whether with a hand or a word, our first instinct is to see them as a monster. We label them as evil, malicious, or hateful. We believe they have woken up with the sole purpose of ruining our day. And because we see them as an enemy, we feel justified in our counterattack. But the Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, looked at the wrongdoer with a different lens. They practiced what we might call cognitive empathy. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that no one sins on purpose. He believed that every human being is built to seek what is good, what is true, and what is helpful. If someone acts in a way that is cruel, dishonest, or rude, it is because they are mistaken about what is good. They are suffering from a blindness of the soul. Imagine you are walking down the street, and you see a blind man stumble and knock over a priceless vase. Do you get angry at him? Do you scream at him for being careless? No. You feel a pang of pity. You realize that he didn't want to break the vase, he simply couldn't see it. The Stoic views the jerk, in the office, or the aggressor, in the street, in exactly the same way. They are mentally blind. They believe that shouting will get them what they want. They believe that being cruel will protect them. They are wrong, but they don't know they are wrong. When you are the target of someone's anger, try to look past their face and into their mind. You will see a person who is currently a slave to their own passions. You will see a person who is confused, frightened, or perhaps deeply insecure. If a person with a broken leg limps, you don't get angry at the limp. If a person with a broken mind acts out, why get angry at the action? By shifting from, "How dare they?" to, "What a shame they don't know better," you instantly dissolve your own anger. You cannot be truly enraged at someone you pity. You cannot feel the heat of battle against someone you see as an invalid. This does not mean you become a doormat. You can still set boundaries. You can still seek justice. You can still walk away. But you do it with a cool heart. You do it for the sake of order and self-respect, not out of a desire for revenge. Epictetus used to say that when someone treats you poorly, they are merely following their own impressions. To them, they are doing what is right or necessary. If they are wrong, they are the ones who suffer the most, because they have to live with a distorted soul. You are the one who is lucky. You have the light of philosophy. You have the ability to stay calm. The next time a person attacks you, remember, they are not a monster. They are a person in the dark. Don't join them in that darkness. Stay in the light, and let their errors be theirs alone. Chapter 6: Voluntary Discomfort. We have discussed the mind, but we must also discuss the body. Anger is a physiological event. Your heart rate climbs. Your muscles tighten. Your breath becomes shallow. You are physically preparing for a fight. Most people are fragile because they spend their entire lives seeking comfort. They want the room to be exactly 72 degrees. They want the chair to be soft. They want the food to be perfect. When one of these comforts is removed, when the air conditioner breaks or the order is wrong, they collapse into a state of irritation. The Stoic knows that a soft life makes for a soft mind. If you are a slave to comfort, you will be a slave to anger. The solution is a practice the ancients called ascesis, or voluntary discomfort. It is the deliberate act of choosing the harder path when the easier one is available. Seneca once advised, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" You don't need to live in poverty to practice this. You practice it in the small things. Take a cold shower when you crave the heat. Fast for a few hours when you feel a slight pang of hunger. Walk in the rain without an umbrella. Sit in a hard chair instead of the sofa. Why do we do this? Because it trains the calm muscle. It teaches your nervous system that you can be cold, you can be hungry, you can be uncomfortable, and you can still be okay. You learn that your peace of mind is not dependent on your physical surroundings. When you practice voluntary discomfort, you are desensitizing yourself to the triggers of the world. Think of a person who has never been in the cold. The moment the temperature drops, they are miserable. They are snapping at their family. They are angry at the weather. Now think of the person who swims in ice water every morning. To them, a drafty room is nothing. They don't even notice it. They have widened their comfort zone so far that the minor inconveniences of life no longer register as threats. This applies directly to anger management. If you can stay calm while your body is shivering in a cold shower, you can stay calm when someone is shouting at you. You have learned how to separate your internal state from your external environment. Discomfort is a laboratory. It is where you test your philosophy. It is easy to be a Stoic when you are lying in a hammock with a drink in your hand. It is much harder when you are tired, sore, and inconvenienced. But that is where the real growth happens. Every time you choose the difficult over the easy, you are building a wall of stone around your soul. You are telling the world, "You cannot touch me. You cannot move me. I am the master of my own reactions." Start small. Seek out one small discomfort today. Embrace it. Smile at it. Realize that by conquering the itch of discomfort, you are conquering the flame of rage. Chapter 7: The Evening Review. The Stoic does not simply live the day, the Stoic audits it. Most people move through life in a blur. They get angry in the morning, frustrated in the afternoon, and resentful by nightfall, but they never stop to ask why. They treat their emotions like the weather, as if they are just things that happen to them. But for the philosopher, an unexamined emotion is a wasted opportunity for growth. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and busiest men in Rome, had a nightly ritual. When the day was done and his wife had fallen silent, he would review his entire day. He would haul his own soul before the judge's bench. He would ask himself 3 simple questions. What did I do wrong today? What did I do right? What could I have done differently? This is the art of journaling. It is not about writing poetry or venting your grievances. It is a forensic investigation into your own character. When you sit down with your journal, or even just your thoughts, at the end of the day, look back at the moments you lost your temper. Do not look at them with shame. Shame is a heavy, useless emotion. Look at them with curiosity. Ask yourself, what was the trigger? Was it a specific person? A specific time of day when you were tired or hungry? Was it a blow to your ego? When you write it down, you take the power out of the anger. You move the event from the emotional center of your brain to the logical center. You are no longer in the fire. You are looking at the ashes and figure out how the fire started. You might realize that you didn't get angry because the waiter was slow. You got angry because you felt unimportant. You might realize you didn't get angry at your spouse because of the dishes. You got angry because you were carrying stress from work and they were the easiest target. Once you identify the pattern, you can prepare the defense. If you know that traffic always makes you snap, you can decide, tonight, that tomorrow's commute will be your practice ground for silence. You are pre-programming your mind. Journaling is the bridge between theory and practice. It prevents you from making the same mistake 10,000 times. If you fail today, the journal is your reset button. You admit the failure, you forgive yourself as a student would forgive a teacher, and you resolve to do better at dawn. As the sun sets, close the books on your anger. Do not carry the grudges of today into the sleep of tonight. A Stoic sleeps with a clean conscience, knowing that even if the day was hard, they have learned from it. The pen is a more powerful tool for peace than the sword. Use it to map the terrain of your own mind. By writing your history, you ensure you are not doomed to repeat it. Chapter 8: Amor Fati, Love of Your Fate. Most of our anger comes from a spirit of rebellion. We are at war with reality. When the rain ruins our plans, or a computer crash deletes our work, we feel a deep, burning no inside our chests. We believe that the universe has made a mistake. We believe that this moment should not be happening. But the Stoic practices a higher art. They do not just tolerate what happens, they love it. They call this amor fati, the love of fate. Think of a fire. When you throw a bucket of water on a small flame, the fire goes out. The water is the obstacle, and the flame is a weak mind. But if the fire is a massive, roaring inferno, you can throw anything into it, wood, trash, oil, and the fire simply grows hotter and brighter. The fire consumes the obstacle and turns it into fuel. You must become the fire. When someone treats you with injustice, the weak response is to get angry. The moderate response is to stay calm. But the Stoic response is to say, "Thank you for this opportunity to practice my patience. I needed a challenge today, and you have provided it." Amor fati is the realization that everything that happens to you is exactly what you need to grow into the person you are meant to be. If life were always smooth, you would be brittle. You would be like a muscle that never lifts weight. You would wither away. Anger is a sign that you are viewing the event as a burden. But through the lens of amor fati, the event is a gift. The person who insults you is your teacher. The delay that makes you late is your practice in presence. The loss that breaks your heart is your lesson in detachment. When you stop wishing for things to be different, your anger has nowhere to live. It is like trying to light a fire in a vacuum. There is no oxygen for the rage. Friedrich Nietzsche, who was deeply influenced by the Stoics, said, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity." Don't just put up with the things that trigger you. Embrace them. Own them. Say to the universe, "Is that all you've got? Give me more. Give me the heat, give me the cold, give me the critics and the fools. I will use them all to build my character." When you love your fate, you are invincible. No one can make you angry because no one can give you anything that you haven't already decided to use for your own good. Stop fighting the flow of the river. Turn your back to the current and swim with the force of the universe. When you accept the moment exactly as it is, you find a peace that no storm can shake. Chapter 9, Memento Mori. There is a final perspective that dissolves anger faster than any other. It is the most uncomfortable truth, yet the most liberating. Memento Mori. Remember that you must die. We live our lives as if we are immortal. We spend our precious hours as if we have an infinite supply of them in a bank vault. Because we think we have forever, we feel we can afford to spend an afternoon being bitter. We feel we can afford to spend an hour rehearsing an argument in our heads. We feel we can afford to go to bed without speaking to someone we love, simply because our pride was bruised. But the clock is ticking. For you, and for the person who made you angry. Imagine you are standing at the edge of an open grave. It is yours. Or perhaps it belongs to the person you are currently feuding with. In that moment, looking at the silent earth, does the insult matter? Does the fact that they forgot to credit you for a project matter? Does the disrespect they showed you in a meeting carry any weight? Of course not. In the shadow of the end, these things are revealed for what they are: vapor, dust, nothing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." When you feel the heat of rage, remind yourself of the shortness of the path. You are two travelers on a very short journey, sharing a carriage for a few miles. Why spend those miles shouting at one another? Soon the carriage will stop. Soon both of you will get out. Soon the world will forget that either of you ever existed. Anger is a luxury of the deluded. It is a waste of the only thing you truly own, your time. When you get angry at someone, you are essentially saying, "I value my grievance more than I value the remaining minutes of my life." You are handing over your heartbeat to a person you don't even like. Is that person worth your life? Is that frustration worth a single one of your remaining breaths? The Stoic uses death as a filter. If a problem is not worth worrying about on your deathbed, it is not worth worrying about now. Memento Mori forces you to prioritize. It forces you to be kind. Not because you are nice, but because you are realistic. You don't have time to be anything else. Tonight, as you lay your head down, realize that you are not guaranteed a tomorrow. And neither is the person who triggered you today. If this were your last day on earth, would you want your final internal state to be one of resentment? Would you want your final legacy to be a sharp word spoken in haste? Forgiveness is not a gift you give to others. It is a gift you give to yourself so that you can live your remaining hours in peace. Use the reality of death to burn away the trivialities of life. When you remember that you are dying, you find that you no longer have the energy for hate. You only have the energy for what is essential. You only have the energy for the light. Chapter 10, The Discipline of Action. We arrive now at the final gate. We have learned to pause, to view the world from the stars, and to embrace our fate. But there is one final trap. Many believe that to be a Stoic is to be a statue, to be a person who feels nothing and does nothing. They think that by overcoming anger, we become passive observers of injustice. This is a grave misunderstanding. The Stoic is not a pacifist of the spirit. The Stoic is a warrior of the will. Anger is a form of energy. It is a surge of power. When you are angry, your body is ready to move. The mistake of the fool is to use that energy for destruction, to break things, to hurt feelings, to tear down. The discipline of the Stoic is to take that same raw energy and harvest it for construction. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." But he also said, "Discard your misperceptions. Stop being jerked like a puppet. Limit yourself to the present. When you feel the heat of a wrong done to you, do not try to simply extinguish it. Instead, pivot. Channel that heat into your work. Channel it into your discipline. Channel it into being the most competent, most virtuous version of yourself. If someone calls you lazy, do not argue with them. That is a waste of breath. Instead, let that sting fuel an extra hour of focused work. If someone treats you with chaos, respond with a level of order that makes their chaos look ridiculous. This is the discipline of action. It is the art of transforming a passion, which is something that happens to you, into an action, which is something you do. Think of the energy of anger like a rushing river. You can let it flood the banks and destroy the village, or you can build a dam and use the current to generate light for the entire valley. When you choose to act with virtue in the face of provocation, you are performing a miracle of alchemy. You are turning lead into gold. You are taking the dirt thrown at you by the world and using it to grow a garden. The world wants you to react. It wants you to stay in the mud. When you refuse to get angry and instead choose to be productive, you win the only battle that matters. You prove that you are the architect of your own character, and that no external force has the power to change your blueprint. Do not let your overcoming of anger be a silent retreat. Let it be a loud declaration of your excellence. Be the person who stays calm when the ship is sinking, and because you are calm, you are the one who finds the lifeboats. Be the person who is insulted in the meeting, and because you are unshakable, you are the one who delivers the solution that saves the company. Anger wants to speak. Action wants to build. Choose to build. The fire that was meant to burn you, let it instead be the light that guides your path. Move with purpose. Act with justice. Let your life be the answer to your enemies. Let me conclude with this, the Stoic warrior. You now hold the 10 pillars. These are not just ideas to be heard, they are tools to be used. Philosophy is not a hobby, it is a medicine. And like any medicine, it only works if you take it. The path of the Stoic is not an easy one. You will fail. You will have days where the forest fire breaks out before you can find your pause. You will have days where the ego wins. Do not beat yourself up. A Stoic is a professional at starting over. If you fall, get up. Dust off your soul. Review your journal. And return to the practice. Remember, the world is loud. It is full of people who are lost in their own storms. You cannot change the world, but you can be the lighthouse. You can be the point of stillness in the center of the turning wheel. As you move forward from this moment, carry these doctrines with you. When the heat rises, remember the stars. When the insult comes, remember the pause. When the path is hard, remember the love of fate. The journey to mastery is long, and the discipline must be renewed with every sunrise. I invite you to revisit this channel daily. Make these truths a part of your morning ritual. Let us walk this path together, one day at a time, until the temporary madness of anger is replaced by the eternal clarity of the Stoic mind. Go out today and be the master of your own soul. The world has enough rage. It needs your peace.